Hey, everybody. Glenn Hausman here with the one, the only, the incredible Anthony Melcuri. Anthony, you are on the go, it looks like, today, doesn't it?
Yeah, I am. I'm in the city. So, what's the weather like in Arizona right now?
The weather is, I don't know, somewhere between perfect and pristine. Something
Yeah, that's
like
about that's about where it lives. That's about where. But don't you like rainy, cool days like that? It breaks the
I
monotony
do.
up, man.
I
It's
do,
well, it's
man.
70 degrees. It's rainy. Like all that beauty in Arizona, man. Just you start getting used to it, and then you start taking it for granted.
I know, you really do. All right. I want to just jump right into this because we've got an incredible guest today. Of course, I'm talking about the one and the only Mr. Alan Roberts. He's the global head of Hilton Garden Inn, and he's sitting right next to me. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, guys. It's good to be here with you. I'm really thrilled, and I agree. Right? The
Yep.
weather's pretty
Hey, can we
darn
try to
nice.
get you a little closer to the microphone if we can?
You got it. Is
We
that
want people to
better?
hear your beautiful dulcet
Yeah,
tones
Yeah,
over
yeah.
there.
Push the microphone closer to you if you
Yeah,
can.
well, the setup that I
Yep.
have over here, it's a little tough
Uh,
to get everything together, but you know
I
me.
can lean forward.
Yeah, I scream, so it's not usually a problem for me.
I'll try to speak up too. Is
Uh,
that better? How's
Yeah,
that?
that's great. So,
Great.
all right. So let's get right into this. Anthony, last night was fun, but he's our guest. Alan, what are you feeling right now at the Logic Conference? What is your overall sense of how people are experiencing this and the crowd size and all?
Yeah, no, the crowd size is surprising. It feels like conference is on, right? I mean, it
Right.
feels like full force on. It was an incredible event we had here last night. Well attended, elbow to elbow, and great conversation. Everybody, these conferences are so optimistic. They're good for me to come into these because they help me really kind of rejuvenate and get recharged. And like, our industry is so cool, right? It's the
Yep.
greatest industry in the world, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And I've spent a lot of time in it, and everybody is just fun. It's the most fun industry that you can have. And this is all happening here the same way, right? It's so fun.
Yeah, Anthony, I don't know if you could hear all the excitement that's going on here, but we're broadcasting right from the center of the conference, and there's tons of people streaming by right now. The general session is happening right in there. But the excitement last night was terrific. There must have been, hey, Jeff, there must have been at least 1,500 people at that
least.
cocktail party last
At
night,
least.
right?
The patio was packed.
Packed.
I mean, it was packed.
Yeah.
And it
Wow.
stayed that way from beginning to end.
Yeah, and
I'm
Anthony,
sorry I missed it.
it was really just phenomenal. And one of the things that I noticed about the Lodging Conference, and I've said it before, I'll say it again, this is one of my favorite events of the year. It's chill, it's laid back, and this one in particular already is starting to feel as if it was like 10 years ago when it was a little bit more intimate and people let their guard down and let you in, right, Alan? Because I had so many incredible interactions with CEOs of major hotel companies, for example, some of your competitors out there, and some other folks that I haven't seen access to in the last few years at these events. Where you getting that same kind of vibe?
I just had interesting conversations with a breadth of people that I wasn't expecting to have conversations with. I was talking about environmental issues and the things that we can do at hotels
Right.
with a vendor last night. It was just really an interesting conversation. I believe the Lodging Conference, as I moved up in my career, was one of the first, I think it was the first conference that I kind of came to.
Right.
And I have been in love with it ever since, because I agree with you. This is one of the more relaxed, let your hair down
Yep.
kind of events. And I always look forward to this one every year. I wouldn't miss
Are labor issues top of the list of things people are talking about?
They are indeed. I had multiple conversations, and that continues to be one of the top conversations.
Yeah, for sure. And we're gonna talk a little bit about that in just a bit, Anthony. But I wanna talk to you first, Alan, about your big journey, how you got into the hospitality industry. You've been at it with, I'm sorry to say, more than 30 years.
You know what? I realized as I was preparing for this that I'm getting darn close to 40.
Oh my
Believe it or
goodness!
not.
Are you serious?
I am.
40 years?
Almost. I started when I was 16 years old in high school. And
Oh, okay.
3 years I'll be there.
Oh my God!
So I've been doing this thing for a long time.
So, when you're at this conference, you get a like a star for every 5 years you've been coming to this event. What do you have, like 47 stars on your thing?
Not at that level.
Yeah.
Right? But it was fun. Right? I fell in love with hotels as a kid, traveling with my mom and dad.
Right.
Just on roadside stops. Everything was in the room, and I just, for some reason, that was kind of cool to me, right? And it was always back then. It was Holiday Inn was where everybody stopped and or had a meal at Howard Johnson's, kind of a thing, right? That was it. But through the years, I came up. I went to school at Appalachian State University, a small state university in Boone, North Carolina, which is where I'm from, North Carolina.
Right.
And went to school and thought I was going to major in business. Didn't really know what it was going to be. And they had an upstart program there. It was about 4 years in, and it was a hospitality program. And I got a job at a front desk at that point, just to kind of work through college. And I fell into the hospitality program and just have gone from there. And I'm just recently kind of re-engaged with the hospitality program, with the leaders of the program there at school. And I'm actually speaking in a couple of weeks to the students.
That's cool.
It's going to be this way, right? We're going to do a Teams thing. And I'm looking forward to it because I was having this conversation last night at the reception with some folks. This is, like I said, this is the coolest industry in the world. It's so much fun. We're in hospitality, and we have receptions as part of our job. We get to do favors for people and do things nice for people. And it's I know it's hard work. I'm not downplaying that. It is there's a lot of hard work that goes into what you do.
Yeah.
But it is fun, and I don't think we get credit for that, especially at the university level sometimes. And I want to make that message out there. I want to help these kids, this next generation that's coming up, think about what they want to do. Whenever I talk to somebody that's in school for hospitality, and I say, "What do you want to do?" If it's a guy, it's always I want to be a GM. If it's a gal, typically it's I want to be in catering sales, or I want to do something like that. And they don't think beyond that, right? Yep. I want them to think about bigger things. I want them to understand there's other parts to this industry, and you can have a really well-rounded career if you in this industry. It doesn't have to be a stopping off point or just a job, which is what so many people kind of think of it as.
Well, it's a profession. It's a profession, and people hospitality equals service industry. Service industry equals low-paying jobs, and I work hard and I don't have weekends off in people's mind. That is the opposite of the truth if you treat it as a profession. I was just having a conversation with my doctor, one of the leading heart doctors in the country, and when I was talking about hospitality, and my kids are in hospitality now, and like he didn't get it. And then he eventually got it after we had the conversation, but he didn't get it. He looked at it as a low-paying service job. I was like, no. You're managing billions of dollars worth of assets if you're in the right position. You're managing a household brand. I mean, and you were a kid that probably was washing dishes when you were 16. So we got to stop saying service and hospitality, I think the first thing for us to really start talking to kids about, it's a profession. I'm in the hotel, I'm in the building, I'm in the asset management, I'm in the hospitality profession. And I think that's the word that people just throw away. When you talk about medical profession, you're talking about accounting, those seem like skilled positions. Well, you're skilled, you have skills, but they throw it away under service. Like when you're in the service industry, you don't have skills.
It's how we tell the story, right? It's how we package it, how we promote ourselves, and how we promote to the next generations, and how we change that narrative a little bit. I've had an incredible career with an incredible company. I mean, I started with Hilton 17 years ago, and I joined at the time. It was the Hilton Garden Inn brand was building its regional performance support team, and I was I think I was the fifth, what we called at the time, a brand performance support director, and I was the fifth region that was added at the time because we were growing. And from there, I've gone on and I've stayed in the branding side with HGI. I was with them for 9 years. I worked my way up to a vice president position in the brand. Then I stepped over to Embassy Suites, and I was running the brand performance support team with Embassy Suites for a couple of years before being named to the global head position with them. I spent 8 years there, and now I'm back to Hilton Garden Inn, and I've had an incredible journey with an incredible company that's given me all of these opportunities that have come through hard work, right? I mean, I've had to, it's not just easy, right? There is a lot of hard work that goes into this business, but it's something that's fun. And if you do something that you enjoy, it's not really work, right? It's just what it is.
Alan, I got one quick question for you. It's a little quiz. What's the first Embassy Suites in the brand?
What was the first Embassy Suites where?
In the brand.
What's the first Embassy Suites?
It was the Kansas City, I can't remember the actual.
Overland Park.
There we go. That's it. I'm ashamed I couldn't remember that.
Do you know I know that?
Why? Did you work there?
That was my first job ever in my life.
You know what? The amazing thing to me about Embassy Suites as a brand is so many people have worked with. Everybody I talked to when I was in that brand had a connection to Embassy Suites. It was it's an amazing brand, and it goes back, and it's still an amazing brand.
Well, I was thinking about it today as I was enjoying a ready-made omelet here at this hotel.
Yeah, and I was a night auditor, and I went from night audit to then Arlene, the general manager, told me, "Hey, go fix the breakfast because we have a problem with breakfast." So I learned the food and beverage part of it, and I still like I love all hotels and I love all brands, but Embassy Suites has got this very special place in my heart. And what's interesting, they were so far ahead of the curve because they've been giving out breakfast and receptions for 30 years, whereas people just got into it, and now people are scaling it back. But they figured it out. They made it work, and it's my favorite brand.
Yeah, it's an incredible brand. It's an incredible story, right? When you dig in and really, and I worked in one as an AGM back in the day too, right? It was in Williamsburg, Virginia,
Right.
Which was an incredible experience when you talk about, the leisure travel that came into that market in the summertime and dealing with the volume of people at breakfast time and everything. You know what I'm talking about. I see you smiling.
What's interesting is every guest on this show we have a connection to somehow, and that's just hospitality.
That's right.
It's the 6 degrees of no vacancy. So what's really cool, Anthony, is the Hilton Garden Inn is going to be, I think you're like over 920 now. You're going to be opening your 1,000th property at some point next year. But you were a general manager at a property at one point. I think Charlotte Uptown, was it, right?
Yeah.
So what's it like now running a brand that's going to have 1,000 units and knowing that you used to be a GM of one of them?
Yeah, and that hotel was one of the first 100. I think it was like number 93 that opened up. Because I remember when I was a GM of that hotel, the 100th hotel was Orlando SeaWorld. And I remember when that one opened up. So we were just a couple of months before them. So
wow.
And then I've come back around, right? It's been an incredible journey. I left the brand and it was just beginning to take off in China. It was just beginning to really get some roots there. I was what I call the tip of the spear when we started to expand into Europe. We had 3 hotels that we were converting from another brand to the Hilton Garden Inn brand at the time. And I was over there working with those owners and those operators to adapt the standards and do all of that. But, we had those 3 hotels open and there was a handful of others. But now when I come back, to your point, we have 920 plus hotels. We're in 50 countries around the world. We've got we'll be opening our first hotel in Australia later this year.
Right.
Thailand. We're also going into there's one more.
Right. I know.
Georgia,
I have some. You're going to Bahrain, the Hilton Garden Inn Bahrain.
That one opened already.
Okay, and you've also got the Hilton Garden Inn Jakarta, Taman, Palem in Indonesia.
Yep, that's correct.
Right, and then the Hilton Garden Inn Tour Center in Lorry Valley, France.
That's right. We opened up in Snowdonia.
Yeah,
Wales,
which is in the UK.
Which, if you ever want to go surfing in Wales, because there's a water park attached to this,
really,
it's right there adjacent to it. This hotel, it's a tourist destination place. They converted, from what I understand, it was an old rock quarry, and they converted it to this water park.
Wow.
And this hotel is the only hotel that's there, so it's been an incredible story as well. So
what's the I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
What's the next level for Garden Inn? What are you guys thinking about the next few years?
Well, we had some exciting news today. As a matter of fact, we just launched the franchising model in China, which is expected to deliver 200 hotels by 2025 with another 500 in the pipeline by that time frame.
Wow.
That's the goal for this. And what I mean by that is franchising is sort of in its infancy in China, right? We've had to stand up an entire organization that's there to support these operators and owners that have limited resources to managing hotels. So if you think about how the franchising world has grown, and it started in the 80s kind of here in our business with the launch of Hampton Inn and the Choice products, and it just really took off. That's kind of where they are in China. We had to stand up an entire organization for that. The hotels we've opened so far have all been managed by Hilton, so we had that insight. So this will give us a pure franchising model with a support team around it to help the owners be successful in their investments that they make.
Right.
And we're super excited about that. So I want to tip my hat here to the crew in China, Alex Jarrett's and her team, and Alan Watts on the development side. They've done an incredible job to pull this story together, and that is going to be a huge driver for us. We're really excited about the future that promises for Hilton Garden Inn.
Oh, that's exciting that you're going that way, Anthony. I totally forgot to do something, and I need to do it real quick. Here at this conference, guys, I'm wandering around and I keep noticing regular trash cans. They're not being focused on eco-friendly savings. No, that's why you guys got to check on Ecotech, because it helps saves on labor, cleaning supplies, and storage space while improving employee and guest safety. Visit eco-techwaste.com to learn more. If you're here at the lodging conference, Tom Gilmore, who operates that business, is here. Go say hello to him. Go save yourself on some labor time. Do the environment by the right thing. Again, that's ecotechwaste.com. All right, guys. Sorry about that break right there.
Got to pay the bills.
I know. That's I appreciate your sympathies on that. All right. So we're talking about China, but we've got a question coming in from the audience over here that I think is interesting. Can't find it right now. Sorry, Dr. Producer Suzanne can't make it today, so I'm trying to do double duty on everything. All right, so did Hilton sell their stake in the hotel? So no, not technically sell, spun off all of the real estate assets, and it's a pure franchising company. Maybe, Alan, you could explain how all of that works for a little Hotel 101 lesson.
Yeah, I'll do my best. But that is exactly, you kind of nutshell it right there, right? We spun off a company a few years ago called Park Hotels, and that was the real estate holding, or the real estate element of Hilton. And we are, to your point, now a pure franchising model. So we make all of our money off the franchise fees that we get from all of our incredible 18 brands that are out there that we build and we help the owners operate. But they have to make money for us to make money, right? That's the way the whole thing works. It's definitely mutually beneficial, and success counts on each other.
Right. And this is a strategy that started, I think, back in the 1990s. When I first got into the business in the late 1990s, companies started to divest themselves of the physical land asset and separate out the operations part of it. And that's when we saw like those REITs and stuff take off. One big example of that is in Las Vegas. That's been happening an extremely amount, a big time. Blackstone has been buying the physical assets from MGM, for example, and then leasing it back to MGM for like a rent. And they just made a big deal yesterday, as a matter of fact, that Blackstone is selling the Cosmopolitan of Las Vegas Resort and Casino for $5.65 billion. But MGM Resorts International is only buying the operations portion of it for $1.63 billion. So you can see how that can be a little confusing. Anthony, what do you think of this deal?
Well, listen, if it makes sense, operators operate, and real estate people, real estate. And that's why it's separated, because when you push the two together, there's a lot of different issues. And it's
What's that all about? I don't know what that is. No, I don't know. That's never happened here before. I don't know what that is. Is that what? No, hold on. I don't know why that's happening. Hold on one second.
Go ahead and mute.
This is the strangest thing, guys. Hold on one second. It's coming through you, Anthony.
It's coming through me.
Yeah.
I don't see anything.
No. I don't know, guys. Sorry. This is the weirdest thing that has ever happened here on our show. This is so bizarre.
It's strange.
All right. Anthony's gone, but we still hear music.
It's live.
Yeah. Wow, weird. Hold on, guys. I don't know what this is. All right. I don't know. I turned down that level. I don't know where it was coming from. Strangest freaking thing, though.
Yeah.
But now Anthony's vanished. Oh, well, Colleen says somebody hit the jackpot. Thanks for your patience on all of that. All right. So let's get back to Hilton Garden Inn for a minute right now. Right. I mean, one of the issues you can't get away from is that labor issue. But I don't want to talk about the labor issue as a labor issue. Let's flip it on its head, right? You are running a global brand, and you're always thinking about how to make your franchisees happier, more profitable, et cetera, et cetera. So what are you doing in regards to operational efficiencies for your franchisees, for example?
Yeah, look, we're in the business of people serving people. So there's always going to be a labor aspect to what we do. We're never gonna get away from that. It's about how do you remix the business model so that labor expenses can go into where they need to go, right? Where you can get the most customer service for which we're always going to need housekeepers. We're always going to need cooks. We're always going to need front desk people.
Right.
But can we do that in a more efficient way that allows the owner and the operator to be able to pay a better wage,
right?
That kind of thing. So a lot of what we're looking at comes through the food and beverage area. We of course still have housekeeping, right? We're still doing rooms cleaning. We are doing not doing daily room cleaning as a service. Of course, if someone wants it, they can get it. All they need to do is ask for it,
which is great. And just put me down permanently as I don't.
Well, that's kind of the way I am.
Yeah,
I mean, I used to hang my do not disturb sign out on
right.
the door, and it was the same effect. But that's one way, right? So that's one thing that Hilton has done. The other thing is,
right, he's back, Anthony. I'm sorry to interrupt Alan, but Anthony is back, and I do want to let you know I figured out what the problem was. I was reading the information off of the website and the Cosmopolitan deal, and apparently a video started that created the music. My apologies.
So it wasn't me. It wasn't me.
No, it wasn't you. I apologize for implying it.
It's just funny how every time there's a problem, you always blame me. It's the Italian guy. You always go after
No. I don't blame you. I just blame anyone who's around me.
I took myself out because I was like, let me just get out of the way.
I'm so sorry. I was going to try to text you. All right. So
he would have blamed me, but he saw I didn't touch anything.
So Anthony, what we're talking about right now is helping franchisees with operational efficiency and stuff like that. Please continue.
No. So we were talking about, I was moving into the food and beverage arena, right? So what we've kind of done is we've begun to look at how do we do food and beverage and how do we make it simple. There are some things that we're still exploring: automation, ordering, that kind of digitizing the ordering process. Those are some things that we have to work on, and they're on the agenda, and we are looking at them, but they're a ways down the road still. But how do I help the owners? What I said right before this.
Can I interrupt you? Can I interrupt you?
Sure.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I'm going to put you on the spot.
No, go ahead.
Okay?
Yes, he does.
I know. I was expecting it.
Okay.
Yes, we talked about it before we went on air.
As a guy who's been involved in the ordering of breakfast items, whether it be at Embassy Suites or the other places I did, I also ran another a hotel with big breakfast. And it seems to me that we do everything electronically, and it's pretty simple to automatically order. Why has it been such a complicated thing for the brands to institute?
It's a good question. I don't have the answer for you why it's been that complicated, because I tend to agree a bit that there are solutions that are out there. Some of them have to do with, we have our proprietary system, that there have to be interfaces and that kind of thing. So there's some of that, right, that goes into just the normal IT thing. But I do feel like we've got our eyes on a solution, and I think we can get there pretty quickly in terms of quickly for us, right? I don't mean it's going to happen next week, but I think it could happen potentially by next year. So I think that's the kind of thing that guests are beginning to expect, and I think it's the kind of thing that our owners have the right to expect. And I think if we can make life easier, I know I travel automated. I use my phone's everything. I check in on it. I check into the hotel. I check in here. I check into the everything you do is on the phone. Automation is not something that's complicated for people anymore. It's all by another version of that, right? I purchased a Apple TV, a new Apple TV device, right? It doesn't come with any instructions other than plug this in here, plug this in there. You figure out how to use it because it's all pretty intuitive. And I think that's the world that we live in today. So I tend to agree with you, Anthony. I wonder the same thing. Why haven't we gotten here sooner? And a lot of our owners probably have some ideas around it that they can share with us, and that's what we'll talk to I use my owners advisory council for those kind of ideas.
So what are some of the things that the owners are hoping that franchise companies like yours, you can be specific or not specific, when they're looking for a little bit of relief from these labor issues?
So far through the entire pandemic, we've heard from our owners repeatedly that we have been very flexible with them. They have enjoyed the things that we've been able to do to this point, by relaxing some of the standards that we relaxed, by pushing off some of the things that we were requiring to be done. Let's say we had an initiative around our shop that we were requiring to be completed by the end of 2020. Well, we obviously pushed that off. Right? The pantry that we have in the gift shops. And so those kind of things are what they were asking for. And those are the kind of things that we did. There have been other asks that we weren't able to do, but by and large, we've tried to be as accommodating to the needs of the owners and help them because back to the point, right? They have to stay in business. They have to make money in order for us to make money.
Right.
And that's not lost on us. And many of us at Hilton, including myself, have run hotels. We've been operators. We get where that comes from. So we speak the language. And I think that's a big benefit for us.
So how do you think balancing all of this between helping your hoteliers out but keeping up that customer service? It sounds like there could be some friction between the two. I'm seeing like breakfast arguments out there, but I'm also seeing what you're saying. People kind of want to be removed from, personal service and kind of want to do everything on their own.
Yeah, the first thing we have to do, and the biggest challenge we're facing right now, we're right in the middle of it, is kind of reopening everything from a food and beverage, but getting it back to what it needs to be, which is hot meals cooked at every meal period, having the bar open in the evenings across the Hilton Garden Inn brand. Right. There are challenges with that, and labor is the number one challenge that I continue to hear from our owners about. I just can't find labor to do this.
Right.
So that's forcing some of the creativity that we're trying to get to as well, and the conversations that we're having with them to try to help them achieve that flexibility in what they're offering, so that it can be a very simple menu where they're doing. Just get the bartender out there to be the expediter and have somebody in the back that's just cooking a basic bar menu, right? Real simple. That's where we want to get started with right now. I will get things back to the full restaurant as we get there. But some of it, let's be honest, I mean, it's market by market. Some of the markets don't need a full restaurant yet in a Hilton Garden Inn, right? I mean, there's some do, some don't. And we're just kind of walking that tightrope as we get back to
no, and the owners have been through hell like a lot of people, but they're going to leverage this moment to ensure that the things prior to the pandemic that they get long term, like the menu creep in the breakfast creep in the morning. And however, what happens is the value stretch is real. And guests are seeing service standards lower. They're seeing breakfast items that they used to have that are no longer there. They're not getting their rooms cleaned. And they're not getting explanations. And the people at the front desk are so exhausted. They're just not doing a great job. We've been seeing it across the country. It's broken, and it's never going to go back to where it was. How are we going to land? Like, that's an open-ended question. But I don't ever see it going back to normal. I don't see housekeeping services ever coming back in most brands. I don't see full breakfasts coming back in most brands. When I say full breakfast, I mean all the menu items.
Right.
I don't see resort fees going away. The labor issue. Now, we talk about it's hard to find people, but we don't really talk a lot about the people that are there doing their job. They're doing the job before people.
Right.
So I don't know exactly what I want to say there, but that's just the way it's going to be.
I think my answer is going to be along the same lines as your question. I think it's still defining itself in a lot of ways. We're going through this together with our owners, and we're trying to land. I think there is going to be a normal. We will get back to a normal, but it will be a new normal. I agree with you. I think menus will be more limited. They'll be more targeted to delivering, and that's the benefit of a Hilton Garden Inn, right? We want to be mindful that we have these full service elements. We're a full service light.
Right. I always called you guys quasi full service. Right. Like you strip out the stuff that I never cared about anyway, like bell service.
That's right. But for the owners, for the guests, that's what you get, right? You can get meal. You've got a bar. A bar is a big win for us in the leisure segment as well as with a business traveler. The honors member knows they earn points on everything they spend at the Hilton Garden Inn. If they buy food, if they buy room, I mean, they know the room's going to get it, but everything else gets it as well.
Yep.
But the operating model for the owner is very much a focused service model, right? So that's where the win is for them. That's how they can operate this quasi full service hotel and still make more money because they run it like a focused service hotel with a limited scaled back staff. That's what we have to be true to.
Are you seeing more of the owners that have 10 or 15 of your hotel products? Are you seeing them say, hey, I want to open up this boutique hotel in Mississippi or Florida, and I'm going to put, it's going to be the Anthony Hotel, but I want your systems. Like, are you seeing more of that? Are you seeing more of the soft brands?
There has been a pretty steady flow of conversions into our Tapestry and primarily our Tapestry, but also Curio and LXR as well. But Tapestry I've seen lots of deals coming across that are, when we get the alerts that a new hotel has been signed, those brands are doing very well right now in this. So yes.
That's pretty cool. So we got a couple of questions from the audience that I'd really like to get to. Mike Bales is wondering, and Mike, I saw your other question. We'll get to that soon. Are operational managers being hired back, or are operations be taken on by general hotel staff? Alan, do you have any insights into that at all? Because you're not a property level guy.
No, not really. Yeah. But I do know from talking to the owners that we have that they're absolutely hiring operational managers back, and
assuming they can find them.
Assuming they can find them. That's exactly right. That's the challenge right now. I think they'd rather they're seeking managers where they have openings. Mm-hmm. They're seeking managers first. Then they'll fill in the blanks from there. That's the above property guys.
Yeah. But what could be? This is my big concern. What can be done with the owner brand relationship when it comes to wages for those mid-level managers and general managers? Those general managers in a lot of the cities are making at the level that they would in a different business, but they're asking now to take on more responsibility, and they're running a real business. And the salaries, especially the mid-level managers, are just not at the level where they can go and maybe even work an Uber job or whatever. So there's got to be some kind of break from the brand for the owner, or at least to be able to educate the owner on why they should be giving more money to the managers. We've all seen that owner that just squeezes the manager to death because the manager is really, really good, and just not giving them the level of pay that they deserve. That, to me, is the biggest problem, the biggest challenge, and the thing that's frustrated me the most over my 35-year career.
It is a tough challenge. And it's one of the things that are, back to the beginning conversation, it's one of the things that this industry faces that we've got to get right? That and benefits, right? The benefits package that come along with some of the smaller organizations, the smaller ownership groups, just isn't what it could be, right, or needs to be. So helping that equation it's hard from a brand perspective to help that. What we can do is make sure that we're not using the owner's money in a way that is not thoughtful and not allowing them we're forcing them to spend stuff on brand standards versus being able to pay their staff a living wage. And then
Go ahead.
And then you just have to have that conversation, right? If they can't the market does help with that when they can't find people, right? That does fix itself at some point.
Yeah. But do you think there'll ever be a brand that sets a standard for benefits and pay and says, listen, if you want this brand, you have to pay this amount of money and this level of benefits, because in order to keep our brand's name at a high level, we need people that are, highly qualified, and those highly qualified people are expensive.
Yeah, it's an interesting thought. I don't know is the answer to it. I don't know how that would work out financially if we could.
I don't know if a company like you could do that.
I'm not sure if we could do that, right? But it's an interesting thought. And
there's got to be some sort of legal stuff in there too. Now, I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I'm just guessing. But
there's joint employer stuff,
because the industry has spent a lot of time making it clear that it's not a joint business. Right. So if you start dictating it from the franchise level that the brands have to do that sort of thing, that'll muddy the legal waters and I think create a set of liability issues on certain topics.
Right. That's a good point. You're smart, Glenn. I don't care what anybody says.
Well, let's see if any lawyers out there have an answer to that. Now we've got a question. Now, Paula, you've got a great question out there about China, but I did want to give you a chance. The pipeline looks great, but Mike is wondering about how the pandemic affected your estimate on the number of hotels you anticipate opening during the next 4 years.
That is a great question. Thank you, Mike. But it really hasn't. The one of the stories that's been a strong story for us, and it's a good story, is our pipeline has continued to grow. Our openings have continued to open. We've seen groundbreakings continue. There's been a little push here and there, but not by years, right? It's been by months, occasionally 3 or 4 months because of something, which is normal. That happens anyway. So it really has been amazing. I think the financial world understands that this pandemic is going to come to an end, right? It will end, and I think we will get back to whatever that new normal looks like and whatever it is at that point. But that means hotels will be operating and running, and we'll be back to travel, and it will come. It's just a matter of time at this point.
Right. That is it for sure. Now, Anthony, anecdotally speaking, while I was here at the event last night during a cocktail party, I spoke to multiple chief development officers from multiple major hotel companies, and they're all telling me it's basically like 2018, 2019, and the deals that they're doing. So it's pretty robust out there. There is a lot of conversions out there. I don't want to make it seem like it's new construction, but one hotel in particular, one big company in particular, that isn't necessarily known for its new construction, is saying that they're having a banner year of new construction. So I'm seeing it all over the place. And the reason for that is they're dealing with regional banks, apparently, and they know the lenders in the community. So everyone kind of trusts each other, and it's moving ahead. So,
listen, the money's been sitting tight for 18 months now, and they need to move their money.
Right.
You know, we think of hotels that need to open and make money, make profits. Well, how about the bankers? They're sitting on this money, these financial institutions that aren't making any money.
Yeah, Alan?
I was going to say, we're going to open 50 plus hotels this year. We were targeted for, I think, 57. So we're going to open something like that. We're on schedule for that again next year. I mean, it's the growth of this brand is pretty incredible. And it's not just this brand, right? That is true throughout all 18 brands.
How does that even work, man? 50 plus brands a year. I mean, I understand there are 50 independent projects all moving along separately, but to bring them into the system and add basically one new property a week, that's a pretty complex task. How does that sort of thing work?
We opened 2 last week, right? So it's a lot of people, right? It's a great team that's out there. We have a team of design and construction folks that are part of the boots on the ground of the openings of the hotels. We have our quality assurance team that goes in and makes sure everything's right for our guests before they show up. We have our pre-opening team that's part of our brand support group, and there's just an incredible number of people. I mean, Hilton's a big engine, and it takes all of that it takes a village, right, to get it done.
And if you think of why brands have separated the two, right, real estate and operations, is imagine opening 50 hotels and having to deal with 50 construction projects, financing 50 hotels, and then also, like you said, how do you then open them? So not that opening is easy. God knows I've been through enough. They're not easy, but they're certainly easier, in my opinion. Finding the real estate, investing in the real estate, developing the real estate, get around the local requirements, getting it open, getting your CEO to bring all that, and then also operate. That's why, and other reasons, that brands have gotten away from it. It's very complicated. It's more complicated to do that than it is to open a hotel.
And that's exactly why we did what we did in China with standing up this franchise model. That's what they're going to do. They're going to do that for these new owners that are coming into the business and across not just China. It's starting in China, but we'll grow from there.
Well, Alan, thank you for bringing back up China again, because now I don't have to work hard for the segue to bring up Paula's question. Are there significant differences in dealings with local and state governments in China versus the U.S.? And then I'll just add other countries that you go into as well. What are the nuances of all that?
Yes, there are. And that's why we have experts in those countries that are based in those countries that are doing the dealings there. I mean, we have the office in Singapore is our headquarters for our APAC offices, and they have their own legal teams. They have their own ops group. It's very different wherever you go. And we need those experts to help keep us straight. Because Lord knows, if I was trying to do it from over here, I'd get in trouble.
Yeah, no doubt.
In all the years in business, in all the countries you've worked in, have had brands in, what's the one thing culturally that was like shocking to you? Not in a bad way, but just like, wow, okay, that you had to deal with from an operational standpoint?
Yeah, it really wasn't a bad thing. The shocking thing that happened to me was, or shocking realization that I had was the first time I went to China and I checked into a hotel and there were so many people, right? The service was over the top. And I mean, that's the culture. That's the way they operate. That's the way it is. And to have that level of, we had to plan for it, right? Because Hilton Garden Inn is the U.S. franchising model is not about a lot of people. And in China, when we started launching there, this is now 10 years ago or more. The labor model was different, and it was just like I had to get my head around understanding. Can you be effective that way? Can you have that many people and really be effective that way? So that was kind of it, and that changes wherever you are in the world. Right? Every world has a different view and a different culture around service, and it's more like ours in Europe, but You go down to the Latin American region, which I love, by the way. And I heard you, Anthony. You said yesterday one of your favorite towns are Miami, and I agree with you on that because I love that entire culture, right? That entire Latin culture. It's just so warm and service oriented. One of my favorite hotels when I go on vacation is down in Cabo San Lucas, and I just am amazed by the team that works there. They've been there a long time, and they do an amazing job. And it's that service culture that just it's endearing and it's warm, and I love that. And I'd love to see that everywhere, right, in our industry.
Right, Anthony, you there? Did we lose you?
I see him.
I know. All right, so you've got. We'll see if he says anything anytime soon. But you've got more than 300 hotels in the pipeline right now. That's pretty crazy. What's the typical time from when you say, "Hello, human being, we'd like to talk to you about a franchise," till they open up a property? Now, I know that it's different with every single project, but for folks that are thinking about this sort of thing, I'd love to educate them a little bit on how all of that process works.
Yeah, the first, you sign the deal, and there we go.
Yep.
Oh, there he is. He's back. I wonder what that in my ear was.
Yeah.
You sign the deal. From the signed deal, you have a couple years to get your plans approved, to get everything ready to go, and then from the time you break ground and start building a hotel in a typical prototypical build on a normal 3.5 acre site where you go about it, it's going to take anywhere from 12 to 18 months, right, to get the hotel open and out there, or maybe 2 years at the very most. But and you go through, and we have people that hold your hands. I mentioned some of them earlier, right? The design and construction guys work with you on your plans to make sure it's going to be able to deliver what it needs to deliver at the end of the day. Tons of experience in that world, right? These guys have been doing what they've been doing for as long as I've been doing what I've been doing. Right? They're masters at what they do, and they're there to help the owners as they get introduced to Hilton. The more experienced owners that know our business, right, that know our model, that have done Hilton Garden Inns in the years, they can break ground and have one open, in even under. I've heard of them being done in under a year.
What?
So it's amazing when they can get efficiencies going that way.
Wow. I mean, those buildings go up pretty quick if you got all the materials over there.
Yeah,
so
that's another issue we've got right now, though. The supply chains are that's throwing some things into a mix as well.
Oh, we've talked about that a lot, particularly if you're getting a lot of product from overseas, and instead of a container costing $6,000, it costs like $20,000 and stuff, and it's really upending the financials. But what I hope, and we've talked about this some before, is if those prices stay high, it'll encourage a lot more American businesses and transactions to occur, which I think is just going to be great for everybody. How do you see that coming along?
I agree with you. If we can restart some American manufacturing and find some stuff here, I think that'd be great for the country as a whole. I think that's I think that would be good.
Right, it's totally a win-win.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Anthony, are you there?
I have an idea. Okay, that I've been thinking about. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
The 8 richest people in America take 10% of their wealth. They buy as much land as possible. They set up all manufacturing companies. Okay, they lease it out to manufacturers, and we have all of our manufacturing that we need in this country. It is insane to me that what's going on right now, that we've come to a standstill because we can't buy a chair, we can't buy underwear, we can't buy pharmaceuticals, we can't buy anything because another country or other countries are not, we can't get it. And it's just insane to me. So can you work on that, Glenn?
Yes, I will work on that. Absolutely. I've got a meeting on that in about 16 minutes. So
Put it on the list.
I'm looking forward to it. So Colleen is asking about the requested daily housekeeping. Then what's the difference between the do not disturb door hanger? I think it kind of reverses things because you have to actively call for housekeeping instead of hanging something to not have housekeeping. That's right. It's a little bit of the opposite. All right, Alan, what else is on your mind today?
We talked about it. The biggest thing I wanted to come and talk about, and I'm glad we had a really robust conversation around our industry and kind of changing the storyline around that, because I think you guys are in a phenomenal position to kind of help carry that forward. And I'm out here, and I was looking at the attendee list here at lodging, and I was surprised by there were a few students, but there weren't a lot. Right? We go to NYU and we go to Hunter, and those have there are schools affiliated with them, right? That they're like NYU has the Tisch School, and then at Hunter it was Georgia State. And I would love to figure out, how do we get more of that kind of involvement in some of these locations? And how do we help that next generation really engage with our industry in a way that is meaningful, right? To change that dynamic that we talked about. But outside of that, you know, I mean, I'm just excited about where I am. I'm thrilled to be back with a brand that I grew up in this industry with, you know, I really have spent formative years with Hilton and with Hilton Garden Inn specifically, and to get the chance to come back and be a part of this brand and take it into the next its future, and mold it into kind of what I have always thought the brand can be is kind of exciting, and we're doing that now effectively with food and beverage modeling. And the prototype work that was done previous to my joining is fantastic, so that's helping us with the pipeline as well. It's a great deal. It's competitive with our primary competitors as far as cost to build, and we took a lot of the extra cost out of some of the extra space in that early prototype.
Yeah, and that's really an important point to discuss. When it comes to creating these new prototypes, you want to make every single square foot as monetizable as possible, right?
That's right, and that's what we're trying to do with our food and beverage model. I mean, we've got a breakfast that's a full service breakfast, right, where you get cooked to order. It's a pay model. Unless you use your credit for it in the honors, but and then you've got the evening reception, same thing, or the evening bar service is the same thing. It's a full service light model, but you want to give the owner every opportunity. We're trying to think through this, right? We're trying to think through how do we help them monetize things like the shop. We have a fantastic coffee machine that they have to invest in when they fill out their shop, and it's like, how do we help them monetize even that on the breakfast menu to sell some lattes and to sell some things that's otherwise just hidden in the shop that we haven't thought about. And we're trying to do some simple things like that are just thinking about things differently.
Right, even just moving that fancy coffee machine right to the middle of the bar, that tells people that you sell it, right?
That's right.
So I'm not necessarily walking into a hotel thinking that they're going to give me a latte.
Right, no, not a Hilton Garden Inn.
Right.
It's funny, every time I see a space in a hotel like that, a breakfast room or a coffee bar or something that's not being used 24/7, it breaks my heart. Because the number one priority in a hotel is you're open 24/7. You should be making money from every square inch. But I want to kind of transition a little bit, and I want to ask you this question because I think you're in a really good position to answer it and to tell me where we are. Everybody's talking about diversity. Everybody is, I know your company has put a lot of money into diversity. Are you starting to see diversity in the general manager role?
Yeah, I think we are. It's coming, right? Yes, I think we are. I'm even more encouraged about the diversity that we're seeing in the level below that, because that's going to lead to general managers of the future. So I do believe we are seeing it out there. And you are absolutely right. Hilton is 100% focused on diversity from the top down. It's not just at the property.
And I think you've done an exceptional job at it, which is one of the reasons why you guys have been named some of the best place to work, for example.
That's right.
Numerous years
and it continues to be a focus for us. Right?
Yeah.
And it always will be. So yeah, I do think we are seeing that, and it's encouraging. And that's part of the reason I also want to change the dynamic. I've had a great career, and I know people in the industry with me that have had great careers. Some have college degrees, some don't, and they've been general managers, or they're at the top levels of this organization. There's people that have doctorates, there's people that don't, right? I mean, you've got it all out there, and it's really about hard work, service, and loving what you do, and it's a fun business.
Do you have a college degree?
I do. I have my bachelor's, but I don't have beyond that.
Right. When was the last time somebody asked you what your grade point average was, or if you had a college degree?
And thank God they don't ask me that question.
Well, right. But my point being is, college degree, it's it really, like, there's 16 years of high school or school, I should say. And if you want to get the 4 years, you should. But in our industry, Chris Green, who runs, Chesapeake Hospitality, is a great example of that. He does not have a college degree.
Right.
And in the beginning of his career, he was very insecure about that. And then he realized it's like he's an exceptional leader.
That's right. And that's, you see that time and time again in this industry. And I just think it's one of the wonderful things about our industry that we don't pat ourselves on the back for it enough and really tell people how successful they can be.
Right. And to be fair, and I've said this before on this show, the only time my college education comes up ever is within the context of the sports team.
That's right. That's right.
It's interesting. When I was in the military, they wanted me to take the officer training test, and I didn't have the qualifications really to take that test and succeed in it. So I left the military as an NCO, non-commissioned officer. If I would have done well on that test, I would have become an officer. If they didn't have that test, I would have never left the Air Force, and I'd probably be a general, or I'd be a colonel, or I'd be in the military for the rest of my life. But that one test prevented me from following my dream of maybe making a career of the Air Force. And so we don't have that barrier in our industry. If you want to be a four-star general, you can be.
That's right. That's exactly
Right. And one of the things that we can do in our industry is take care of those housekeepers. We've got a great housekeeper. Our friends at Cintas have partnered on the Shine Awards. And through October 15th, submit a nomination for yourself or someone you know, because they are working hard. Let's recognize them. They will win a cash prize. And if it's your hotel, you'll also win all sorts of cleaning supplies. So not only are you doing the right thing for them, but you're going to do the right thing for yourself. So go check out cintas.com/Shine Awards.
You will win a Hilton Garden Inn. Is that true? Is that not true?
The whole thing, right?
Maybe a latte.
Maybe a shirt.
Yeah. All right. Before we wrap up, Colleen says she's stuck on this housekeeping issue. Wouldn't it make more sense to hang the "Do Not Disturb" sign for no room cleaning, or don't hang it for room cleaning? The issue really has to do with lack of labor that's out there, right, Anthony?
Yeah. Can I answer this?
Yes, please.
Okay. Colleen, before the pandemic, I'm just going to say it straight out. Before the pandemic, a lot of people didn't want housekeeping services, me included, right. Glenn included. So so there was a wasted labor because people would come in and you have to send them home, or you'd have them doing things just to get their hours. Okay, number one. Number two, the pandemic happened and it gave us, again, I hate to say it, but an excuse to, finally say, an opportunity to say, you know what, we have a better chance. We have a better opportunity to save money so we can give better amenities and we can give better hotels and better quality amenities if we cut this out, because most people don't want it anyway. And the people that maybe want it, when they come back, do they really want it? Maybe not. You know, if you really want housekeeping services, you will call the front desk and you say, I need somebody to clean my room, I need somebody to take out my trash, and I need somebody to give me towels. And they will happily provide that. So it's not about putting the "Do Not Disturb" out. It's about really how does the industry go forward. And just like luggage fees, the airline industry saved itself by charging luggage fees. And as I understand, they made more money last year or 2 years ago in luggage fees than they did in airline tickets. So it's a way. It's kind of it was an accident that this has happened, but I think it would have happened in 5 or 10 years anyway, where we got rid of daily housekeeping fees, because the fees that owners are taking on right now, you can't sustain between labor costs, between taxes, between cost of build. It's extraordinary. So this is one way for owners to save money and also to think about better ways to use that money.
Yeah, it's about. I'm just going to add one other point, because every bit of that was right. It's also about being able to schedule effectively, right? That's you. If you know you're not cleaning the whole board, you know how many housekeepers you need to schedule, and you can pick up 10%, a couple of rooms. If somebody makes the request, you can pick that up. But if you have to schedule for a full house or schedule for the full boards, and then come in and find out you have, however many "Do Not Disturbs" hanging out there, it's just inefficient, right? That's to the point. So
and from an operational standpoint, a general manager standpoint, a director housekeeper standpoint, no longer does that housekeeper just check off on their noteboard saying that they cleaned the room because it was a "Do Not Disturb" sign and go on to the next room. Because what they're supposed to do is go down to housekeeping and ask for another room, but a lot of people don't.
Right.
So it's saving that labor.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. All right, Alan. Final words? Sir?
Just, if you're at the lodging conference, come see us at the Hilton booth. Be glad to sign you up for some new Hilton Garden Inns if we can. And the other brands are there too.
Exactly. And now with every Hilton Garden Inn, get yourself a free lunch.
That's right, get a free lunch. I appreciate you guys. The time has been wonderful. I've enjoyed the conversation.
Cool. Thank you, Alan. We really appreciate you too.
It's an honor. Thank you.
Yep. So feel free to run if you got to get something. Otherwise, we'll wrap up in just a second. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Anthony, final thought before we wrap up?
Yeah, I'm having fear of missing out right now.
Yeah, you totally should be, because this is freaking awesome.
Yeah. You know what? It's funny because I was supposed to be there, and then when it got canceled, instead of continuing to go and just be with you, I was like, all right, I'll cancel it. And I don't know why I did that.
Well, hold on. I've got
I
I've got somebody here to tell you what a bad choice you've made, Alan.
Yeah, you're missing out.
Yeah.
It's been fantastic. It's a good event. I'm just looking out here right now at all the
Right?
everybody's having a great
I
time.
mean, seriously.
But I am concerned about all this traveling with Glenn. This is what I've heard for the last 2 weeks. Well, I was at the bar last night and had some small bites and I had some drinks. I was at the reception last night and I had a couple of drinks. So we got to get your liver checked when you get back, Glenn.
Yes. Well, the good news it's become so large it won't be hard for anybody to find it when they test it. All right, Alan. Thanks again for being
Thanks,
here.
guys. Appreciate it.
Really appreciate it.
Is this the first conference, Glenn, that you felt that like you wouldn't know there was a pandemic? Was this the
Yes.
first one that felt?
Hold on.
energy?
I'm sorry. We got to bring it back in again, right?
It actually does feel very much like that. I would agree with that.
All right.
statement, yeah.
So the way it was is the Hunter Conference back in May was the first one that everybody got together. That felt like a family reunion, but there was still a lot of anxiety in the air. And then NYU got pushed to November, so that didn't happen. Alice, which was scheduled for January, happened in July.
That's right.
But when LA put in a mask order again just before the event, it kind of threw everything
It was
off.
weird, right?
It was
That one was a little
It
weird.
was just a bad vibe. Again, every time I say this, I love Jeff Higley and the team over there at Burba. It was not their fault,
No.
but it just felt a little weird. This one,
Feels normal.
right?
It really feels like old conference time.
Yeah.
It's I wasn't sure what to expect, but it really does.
It's absolutely a wonderful surprise. All right, so instead of taking him out again, let's just wrap the show up. All right.
I want to tell you something. Don't wrap it up yet.
All right.
So before when I put myself on mute and I took myself off camera, there was a very let's just say a woman in a very, very nice car. I'm on the Upper East Side of Manhattan.
Yeah.
Pull up, park at a fire hydrant. I'm looking at you. I have my headphones on. I see her waving at me. She's in front of my car. She got out of her car and she's like this. She sees I'm speaking. I'm in mid-sentence. I am ignoring her. She comes over. She taps on my window. I'm ignoring her. Okay, I've ignored this woman for 3 minutes. She sees that I'm engaged. Finally, I have to shut down and say, I'm on a live podcast. And she goes, are you leaving? She can never work in a hotel because she can't pick up cues.
Wow.
No, you got to be able to read the room a little better.
It's like, how desensitized are you to human behavior that you didn't pick that up? That I'm not going anywhere. Go around the block a couple of times. Oh my God! The audacity of people. I'm so. I usually don't say that, but that shocked me. I was just like, dude.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh my goodness! There goes our friend Chris Green. So this is exciting.
Hey, Chris Green.
Everybody's here. All right, let's just wrap this up, guys. You know what to do. Download the audio version, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, all the places that you are. All right, Alan, thank you so much for being here. Remember, everybody, you've got one life, so blaze on. And Anthony,
be kind to yourself.
See you tomorrow. Now, remember, tomorrow's show is going to be a little late because it's going to be a live broadcast of me up on stage at the general session. If it doesn't happen at 12:25 Eastern time, 9:25 Arizona time, I promise I'll get the show up afterwards. I still have to deal with some tech to make sure it works out all right. Disclaimer's done. See you all tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.